All right, everybody. Our next guest has appeared on Gotham Comedy Live, MTV's The Middle of the Night Show, and currently has a special on Amazon titled Delete Your Account. Here he is, folks, the very funny man himself, Joe Pontillo. Joe, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Yeah, wow, I almost forgot I did all those things. It feels like quite some time ago.
I know this year, you know what's weird about this year is that it's going so fast, but yet it feels like so long ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I almost have forgotten our past life. You know?
I still wake up many a days and I'm just like, what month is it? Like,
It's so weird because it is a blur. It's been like 6 months, really, since this whole thing, since we got locked down and it got crazy in like March, like end of February, March, it seems. And it's just been crazy. And like, just a nutty time. How have you been dealing with it? Like, you know.
Well, at first I feel like it was kind of had a meltdown, and then I kind of quickly saw it as an opportunity. So, because when when you do comedy, like you do it almost every single night. And it all becomes very cyclical. So in a weird way, it was kind of nice to all of a sudden be like, I don't have to do this like this anymore. And I was even like, I'm not going to do any Zoom shows or Instagram shows. But then people would ask me and I'd be like, of course I'll do them. But, it's a less, obsessive and insane way of life to an extent. And then it gave me opportunities to start making videos at a much higher rate, which at the end of the day is like, what I think comedy or being in entertainment is really more about, like creating content that gets seen by way more people than telling mildly funny jokes to crowds who forget about you 5 minutes afterwards. I've been doing comedy for like 8 years. My family has repeatedly tried to get me to stop. My friends. I won't listen. Still like doing comedy, but
Yeah, no, I think what happened with a lot of people is it kind of forces you to find another outlet to be creative, whether it's Zoom stand-up, which is different from regular stand-up as we know it. Yeah. And then because it's just a different approach to it, because you don't really have the audience feedback. Maybe you'll hear a few chuckles from people who have their mics on, but it's a weird vibe where you really have to rely on the writing, I guess, and just confidence in yourself at that point, because you're not getting that instant laughter.
Yeah, the crowd work changes in the Zoom shows from "How's everybody doing tonight?" to "All right, who's ready for bed?" People like watching you in their pajamas, like, yeah, okay, you guys will be asleep. Yeah. Thanks for holding out.
But it also got you. So do you live in Manhattan, or are you out here in the island just commute in to do some of your sketches?
Yeah, I live in Brooklyn. I'm originally from Valley Stream though.
Cool.
So,
yes. So like another advantage to doing these sketches is that you have the whole city to yourself for a while. No one else is out there.
Come to New York, the city that never does anything really except eat in the streets.
What as annoying as New York City can be, one thing I like about it is you could just walk around anywhere with a camera and nobody will ever question you. Like, I've never had the cops called on me when I would film things on Long Island. First of all, there's always somebody on Long Island running a leaf blower 24/7 somewhere. Any time of year. It could be the dead of winter. Somebody's still doing it. And people on Long Island are all like, "What are you doing? What's that? Call the cops." And, I got thrown out of my own park in my hometown because they were like, "You need a permit to film me."
That's crazy.
And I actually went for a permit just to be like, "Yeah, let me play by the rules." And then they were like, "Oh, sure, you just have to get up to $1 million worth of insurance."
Just to have a YouTube sketch.
Right, just to have two people talking in a park for 30 seconds. There's no pyrotechnics. There's no car kicks.
But I'm loving all your stuff because you really do key in on what we're going through. The Cuomo thing was hilarious, dude. Like, literally almost did a spit take. I was drinking, and then when he got to they said Jerry Seinfeld was going to be there.
We go to the show. The show was... Jerry Seinfeld did not pop in. We were lied to.
And all that.
Unbelievable.
Jerry did not show up. It was just so hilarious,
This
man.
business will never reopen. No one will be lied to again.
Everybody's got to check that out for sure on YouTube. Joe Pontillo on YouTube, all his sketches. And again, thank you. Joe allows us to run some of his sketches on our show. We lead off the show with those a lot of times. Hilarious stuff, man.
No, thank you.
So are those something you're going to do more of, like weekly or something? Is that the goal, or what do you want? What do you foresee your comedy going from here now?
Yeah, well, at the beginning of the lockdown, I feel like I did maybe one thing a month, and then I had a weird gap, and I'm like, I gotta get back to doing stuff again. And I filmed something, just really something I just made up on the top of my head. It was a commercial for something called Podcast or Us.
What kind of show are you looking to host? Comedy, true crime, movie review, or how about a combination of all three? Because let's face it, no one's listening anyway.
Kind of a stupid concept, but people really liked it. And then from there, I think after that, what did I do after that? Oh, I have this recurring character that I do, where I'm a lawyer called Pontillo and Associates.
Got fined for not wearing a mask? I'll take your case. Got fined for wearing a mask? I'll take that case too. Got called a Karen? Oh, I'm gonna take that case. Got the cops called on you by a Karen? You bet I'm gonna take that case. I'm gonna take any case. I don't care what side you're on. I have no morals. And if you're not interested in my law services, well, maybe you could sign up for my dating website. Why? Because my partner's left and I need to make some extra money on the side.
Trying to do another one of those where now I started a moving company where I just rapidly move people out of New York. Even if they don't want to move, I just kind of pull up to their house. I'm like, you're done. Let's go. With the van's ready.
Get me out of here. That's great, man. As a comedian, do you, with all this craziness going on, we get the space aliens that are here. We have your murder hornets. We have all this nuts going on.
I feel like that didn't get enough news attention. I don't know why. They had 3 days of that, and then they were just like, you know what? Nobody's buying this.
We just go back to mask debate. So is the you don't seem like you're a woke person. So does the woke culture?
I think I'm woke in different ways. That's how I look at it.
I feel like the woke thing is not very good for comedy, number one, and number two, woke comedians. I've seen a couple of them. They're not very funny.
I know better than anyone that what I did with the net was not technically comedy. But I'm also not a fucking idiot. I wanted that show to have an audience and a broad audience. And if that meant I had to trick people by calling it comedy, that's technically a joke.
What's your take on this whole...
That's the problem with a lot of those people, unfortunately, is that they're not very talented or interesting themselves, so they have to find ways to bring down other people who are somewhat talented. And there are lots of people who do deserve to be canceled and removed from the business, certainly. But then it gets out of hand sometimes where you're like, you try to get people fired for jokes they made on the internet 8 to 10 years ago or something,
right,
or something they said on a podcast once. I think the limit of whatever it is, statute of limitations should be 5 to 8 years. And we should see if each person actually grows. Oh, they were making dumb jokes years ago, but what do they do now? Okay,
Right.
I want to apologize to everybody.
I'm horrified, and I'm sorry, and I'm embarrassed.
I am so sad, and I am so angry.
I do apologize to the Vice President, again, for spreading misinformation about it.
I made a mistake, I fucked up, and I'm sorry if I duped you as well.
I'm not perfect. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I am or claim to be in any way, shape, or form.
Well, I was wrong, and I am sorry.
Wanted to come on here and publicly say that I am so sorry, you know, for everything. I just get bored in the house, and I'm in the house bored. Yeah, because like, think about the direction we're going in comedy-wise, where like, look at where Lenny Bruce was, and this was in the 50s and 60s, right? You know what I'm saying?
He was getting arrested for using foul language, and comedians now could get arrested just for performing. Which goes illegal. Comedy itself is illegal.
Exactly. Now you can't have comedy, especially in New York. What is Cuomo doing to us? He's taking away our laughter, man.
I don't really understand it.
If people do that, the infection rate will be fine. If we get undisciplined or sloppy, then you're going to see it go up.
Because it kind of seems like, you know, I get, all right, sure, at first, you know, shutting everything down was about safety and whatever, even though I think personally it was a bit of an overreaction on a lot of levels. But now, like, what are we doing? Like, you mean, you know, especially when they do things like they had the MTV VMAs in New York City. And I think like Ariana Grande was performing with like 115 backup dancers. Like, do I need backup dancers in order to do my shows? Like, do they protect the audience and me? Like, you know.
Yeah, what gets me is like, you know, the gambling is open in New York. Like, what's that, exit 50, whatever? You could go to that.
Right. Casinos are far more disgusting than any, well, maybe not all comedy clubs, but most of them.
But you can't perform comedy anymore, so I think it's crazy, but they can't stop it. One way or another, comedians are getting their voices heard. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Well, y'all, I want to let y'all know something. If y'all never seen a black redneck before, I'm a black redneck, okay? I came all the way here from West Virginia. Yes, a black redneck.
I did a rooftop show last week, and then I did a show in New Jersey outside of a cigar lounge. And
nice.
Probably got sick because it was so cold, but still. Right next to a huge fire, and a guy was throwing tables and pallets onto the fire but he didn't do it during my set because I think I was doing well, so he let the fire die down for me.
Is everyone now doing the same thing? Is COVID becoming hacky to talk about? Even though we're all living through it still.
I don't think I feel like I made a bunch of jokes about it like when it was starting, and then now all the jokes are about like, you know, lockdowns or, you know, the various protests where there was like, you know, police brutality or whatchamacallit, or people protesting things like reopening the gyms.
This is great.
By doing their entire exercise and workout in front of the closed gym. Like, you don't need the gym. You're just, I don't know. Like me cutting my hair in front of my closed barber shop. Which I found out was secretly open the whole time. And how was I supposed to know?
You gotta know the secret knock or the phone number or something. It's a crazy world, man. Crazy times.
He still raises his prices $5, so I don't get it.
What's your normal day like? To walk us through a normal day of Joe Pontillo. Like, what time do you wake up?
Any time between, you know, I feel like I probably wake up a little earlier nowadays than I used to. Because like when I was going out doing comedy every single night, I feel like I wouldn't be, you know, falling asleep until 3, 4 o'clock every single night. Now I only do that sometimes. Right. And now I feel like even when I do shows and stuff, I'm done by like 10 o'clock all the time, right. Which is kind of sad. Like last week I did a show at 6 o'clock and I was back home by 8, and then I had to film an audition. That was my night. So I don't know. I wake up, I check. I'm an idiot. I hate the type of person that I've become. Not like I just became this, but that just looks at my phone like, oh, I'm on Twitter, oh, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. What's everybody talking about today?
Joe reads the tweets. There were some good ones today, and also some bad ones. Come on, people.
But I think this whole shutdown thing, I think exposed a lot of people in comedy as not actually being funny, not to be terrible. Because like the point of a comedian is to make fun of things and to make jokes and to make people laugh and happy. And I don't see a high percentage of comedians on social media doing that. And they used to be able to mask it by, doing shows and then posting about how they killed on said shows. But now that there aren't shows to kill on, now they're like exposed as just, complaining about, whether it's politics or people not being far enough apart when they stand outside. Not that you shouldn't have views and feelings about those sort of things, but I don't need to hear about them every single day. Like that's not your job. Like you're not working for the local paper. You're you used to tell jokes in a hostel.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Like especially some comedians, you just want them to you don't want to hear it from them. You're like, no, you too, you're drinking the Kool-Aid or whatever. We all know by now what the do's and don'ts. We all know what's right and wrong. And whatever side of the fence you're on, that person's tweet isn't going to change your mind. You know what I'm saying?
I think I made a joke a few weeks ago where it was like, yeah, it's me at the voting station in November thinking about that one Facebook post that helped me make my decision. Like, just whatever side you're on, like, I get having opinions, but not every day. Like, you're not helping anyone, and you don't help people by calling them morons.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What happened to the discourse?
Yeah, you very rarely, if ever, go political in your comedy. I mean, you don't go right for it.
My take is always like both sides are kind of ridiculous and should be equally made fun of. And there's some people on both sides who don't agree with that. You make fun of, Democrats, they're like, you want 90 more years of Trump. And then you make fun of Trump and they're like, oh, you liberal snowflake. Like I can't get yelled at by every.
It's so hard these days because it's so, the world is so divided and it's different than it's been. There's always been the division, right? Obviously Democrats, Republican, right, left, but now it's really disgust and shaming. And you know what I mean? Like if you, God forbid, you're a Trump supporter, like you said, they'll crucify you. And then on the other hand, if you're a Biden supporter, they'll also crucify you to an extent. It's a crazy. How do you ride in between the raindrops on that?
I just I don't even know. I mean, I was a big Bernie Sanders guy.
And it's like, well, how could somebody like Bernie Sanders ever win in this current climate? And I think the way he could have won last time is, remember when the bird landed on his podium? He had a speech and a bird just landed. I think he should have fucking killed the bird.
Even if you think he's ridiculous, which sure, okay, he's a little out there on some things, but at the end of the day, he's just somebody who just wanted people to have health care and get paid a little more money at their jobs. But like even people on the supposed like left would be like, he's too much. He's destroying democracy. He's sexist. Like what? So yeah, there's like no right way to go. Like I feel like last election season I was a little more with like political jokes on like Facebook and stuff. But like there's always somebody who's just going to have, even if it's the most ridiculous, benign thing, there's always going to be somebody who just jumps in to get offended or get mad at you or respond to it in a serious fashion, which is my favorite thing.
Like with the Cuomo thing you did you get any backlash on that because you kind of made fun of Cuomo?
Absolutely not. I think I found this nice like middle ground where I feel like some of the things I do, like people on every side can kind of laugh at. and agree with. And I'm not even necessarily trying to, I mean, like, everybody at this point, everybody whose brain is functioning, whether they're left or right, I think is like, okay, what the hell with Cuomo at this point? Everybody hates de Blasio. Like, let's be, even when he got elected, nobody liked him. Like, it was...
That was not, you were beyond, don't call me, I'll call you.
I think Cuomo's biggest fans all live in different states. That's
yeah. No, but I think you handle it like that sketch, the Cuomo sketch is a perfect sketch because, yeah, you're using Cuomo as the catalyst, but the joke is in the moment that comedy's closed down, but the reason why, and then the whole idea of those barkers in the city, if anybody's walked through Manhattan, they've had those guys, yo, man, go to the show. Tell you Seinfeld might show up. You never know who's going to go. And then you're disappointed. It was just so great, man. I love that sketch.
Oh, yeah. My children were devastated. They are huge fans. And I swore to them that one day I would destroy this industry if given the opportunity.
So have you done that? Have you had to bark on out there in the city to sell some tickets?
I kind of like, at least early on, I sort of skipped that part somehow. I just, as good as I might be at telling jokes and making videos, I have never been good at selling comedy. I feel like the only time I'd ever be able to get people into a show is if, they were already like looking into the venue and seemed interested. And I was like, guys, you know what? We've got comedy tonight. So, and I applaud, and I know lots of people who were always like excellent at doing that, just going up to people who were not even looking at them and being like, comedy show tonight, here's what we got. You guys got to buy tickets. We 2 for 1, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's just not me, unfortunately. To an extent, I wish it was, but.
Yeah, it's tough to do. It's tough to do that, to just sit out there. And a lot of people don't realize that the guys selling the tickets, the barkers on the street, are the comedians as well, Yeah,
so then you go to the show and you're like, oh, that's the guy that sold me tickets. What the hell? and that's the guy who took my tickets at the door, and that's the girl who served me my drinks. What the heck is going on?
Exactly, man. So what's your predictions for the rest of 2020? What do you think is going to happen the rest of the year?
Man, I don't know. Well, first of all, there's I think it's still happening tomorrow, Tuesday. There's a rally to reopen, I guess. I don't know if it's just comedy clubs or it's all entertainment venues in New York City. I don't know if that'll do anything.
Are you going? Are you going to be there?
I might pop by. Yeah, I don't know.
You should film some stuff. That could be a good.
I kind of want to just set up a big projector screen and just play my videos. And I think they'll get it. It's weird. I feel like when it was like, I forget what month it was. I was like, things will probably be sort of back to normal by like July. And they were, but then they kind of started moving the goalposts. Like, New York City reached phase 4, I think, in the middle of July. But then they were like, whoa, no indoor dining. And that's still going on. They're finally lifting that. But then they had this whole weird thing with like entertainment venues and not being able to have ticketed events.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. So now you create this like weird culture of like park shows and backyard shows and who knows what next, sewer shows?
Might be onto something.
They'll never find us there. So I don't know. Things I think will continue to be insane until maybe, I don't know. It's either going to all go away by the end of the year, or this is just going to be life for like another 6 more months or 6 to 9 more months. And then there'll be a vaccine, or we'll just forget about it. I look at it that way. I feel like at some point, like a year from now, somebody might be like, what the hell is coronavirus? Like nobody could. Hey, remember when we all lost our jobs and comedy was illegal for like 8 months? Yeah, it was wild. Like, but I think New York City is going to change a lot from this. It's just, and I said this to somebody. I was like, it's going to maybe like return to like the 70s and 80s, but like a nicer version, because like we already will have the infrastructure. And I described those years as being like the Tim Burton Batman movies, of New York City, and now it's become like the Joel Schumacher version.
That's a great way to put it. That's what's happening. Yeah, everyone's fleeing New York. De Blasio is completely destroyed the city as we knew it.
I always knew this was going to happen with New York because it was too much. They keep building things. They keep making more people move. It's not, the city was built to house like the population of the world in like 1925, and they never really did anything to expand it. They're like, oh, well, now we've got this highway that's on top of the old highway. So there's two highways? No, it's the same highway, but it's just on top of the remains of the old one. Like, they haven't added anything. You know, they're like, we're going to add a train, and it takes like 19 years. So it's like, you know, the city needed to be purged a little bit. So I think it's all ultimately going to be good. But short term, it feels like, you know, like my city's dying, but it's not. It's just returning to what it probably should have been to begin with.
So that's good. So now when you go out and about and you're walking the streets, how does it feel? Does it feel like an apocalypse still, or is it starting to get back, like, is the heartbeat happening again?
I carry a katana sword with me everywhere. Nobody messes with me. No, well, my neighborhood where I live, there's a ton of outdoor restaurants in what used to be parking spots. A good amount of people out. I don't know. I want to say there's a few more people living on the streets, but you know, that's gonna happen for a number of reasons. So it really hasn't changed. I know people are like, oh, there's so much more crime in the city now. I haven't really seen it, but maybe I'm just lucky. I know, and then I got relatives from other states being like, we heard about the shootings. Are you okay? And I'm like, I think you would have heard if I was shot, but thanks for checking in. You know, next time there's a tornado there, I'll be like, are you dead? Like,
But Joe, I appreciate you taking the time. Tell everybody where they could see and find you.
All over the internet. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Joe Pontillo. Instagram, Pontillogram. Find me on YouTube. Just put my name in, it should come up, or it's youtube.com/Joe Pontillo. TikTok? No, don't find me on there. Whatever. I think they're shutting that down anyway.
So you're doing your dances on TikTok?
Oh yeah, you know, my lip syncing videos.
And you also on Amazon have Delete Your Account, your special.
My special, which I shot at in the little room at Governor's in 2017. Still, I got it in right when like Amazon was looking for content. So for a while, it felt like it was kind of hot, and now it's cool. Now I'm down to getting like 3 cents a month for it, but still, it's.
well, hey, everybody, check it out. Delete Your Account, Joe Pontillo. Check it out. It's in the little room right in Governor's Comedy Club. That's pretty cool. Joe, I'm hoping there's comedy sooner than later. If not, we'll probably see you at a comedy backyard special sometime soon.
Something like that. Yeah, you won't see it coming.
Joe Pontillo, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. You have to subscribe to Don Sill's show, Put Up, Shut Up, and Stand Up on GOVS Radio. It's the show with his buddy Benny. They're good buddies. They're on TV. I don't know what I'm saying.